What's going on, everybody? I'm gonna wait a few minutes here, get a few people on, flip this around here. So, today we are gonna get started. We're doing some acceleration work and some plyo work today. Ryan's finishing up a call down there with the U14 Blues. So we're gonna get started with some of the pillar prep stuff right now. So pillar prep's gonna be foam roll, mobility, and stability today, making sure we're getting a lot of those hip flexor complexes and the T-spine complexes, which is stuff we're gonna need super mobile for sprint work. So take that into the mobility, doing hip flexor and T-spine, and then stability work too with some bear crawls, make sure the core is nice and strong and activated and ready to rock. So we'll take that into movement prep, doing bridge, world's greatest, marches, and then some march balance, and then hop over to movement skills, which is gonna be the bulk of our workout today. That's where we're coming over and doing some sprint work and actually doing some sprints themselves. From there, gonna go over and we're gonna do a few plyos. Those are all gonna be linear plyo since we are doing sprint work. So that's why they kind of connect with each other a little bit. So I'm gonna get going on some of the foam rolling while Ryan's finishing up over there. So I'll flip this around and kind of take you guys through the foam rolling technique today. So we're starting off with TFL. So TFL is just hip flexor. So finding this bone right here, and then right below it, just 2 fingers below it, you'll feel a little muscle. If you can't feel that, lay down, try to put your finger there and rotate your foot in and out. You should feel a muscle kind of pop up when you do that. That's what we're trying to hit. So this is gonna be foam roller or a ball of some kind right below that hip pointer, and kind of rotate towards the outside just a little bit, and you'll feel it. It's not a big muscle, so we're just gonna kind of sit on it, maybe move around a little bit, but you're not gonna go big long rolls or anything. So let's hang out here. Try to relax, breathe through some of the discomfort. There's probably gonna be some discomfort when you're foam rolling, but it shouldn't be painful. If you find not, go ahead and sit on it, try to relax and breathe through it. All right, we're gonna take this down to the quad. So from the quad, making sure we're rolling all the way from that TFL, all the way down to the knee, the VMO, which is that side of that knee right there. Going all the way up and down. Getting on the outside of the leg. I'll try to get towards the side here a little bit. You guys can see a little better probably. Outside of the leg and the inside of the leg. So just finding those knots. Quads, I know for me at least, are super tight all the time. I have a lot of knots in them all the time. Pretty quad dominant. Side to side here. Woo. You guys find a knot that's super painful or super stiff, go ahead and just relax on that and try to breathe through it a little bit. Going all the way down. All right, finally, we're gonna do some T-spine. So we're just gonna do extension today. So you're gonna have this right below your scapula there, hands behind your neck. I want you to breathe out as you extend back. So we're keeping that core nice and tight the whole time. So I don't want it to all flare open. I want this core to be tight as you breathe out and go back and get some extension and then upper back. Roll it down a little bit. Try to get a few more extensions. Good. All right. Get rid of that foam roller. We're going to take this into some mobility work here. So half kneeling hip flexor, one of my favorites. Getting that back foot tucked under, the toes tucked under there. Opposite foot right here. Leaning forward. I don't want that back to be arched. I want to be nice and tall here. Keeping that back glute fired up. And then think about pulling this heel towards you. So you're going to feel that in the hamstring a little bit too. Coming forward. Should feel this one right here. That's pretty easy. You can make it a little more difficult by reaching over. Holding this for about 30 seconds. guys are just joining us, you hear somebody yelling in the background. Ryan's finishing up an online workout with some of the AAA Blues guys. Same thing the other side. And we're pulling this heel under, keeping the back toe under, squeezing this back glute. You could reach up and over, you could sit up nice and tall, either or. Good. All right, we take this into some T-spine reaches. So I want you guys in this quadruped position, tucking these toes under, hands underneath the shoulders right here. I don't want you to arch your back at all. I don't want you up here. All we're gonna do is hand underneath, reaching through.
Make sure that you're vulnerable and do some soft tissue work when you're done, okay? Especially if the heart rate's elevated. So, get your hip flexors again.
Let's get 10.
Do those 90-90 transitions that we do every once in a while, so we back up, I'll show those. When we're sitting down on the ground,
And other side. Try to keep these hips in place so we're not rotating the whole body. We're just rotating that upper back a little.
take care of your hips and your head flexors because we just did a lot of strong single leg stability work and not stuff. So take care of your hips. If you have a phone over,
Getting 10 of those. I lost count already. Let's see. Okay. Next we're gonna do some bear crawls. So we did the foam rolling, we did the mobility, now we're gonna do the stability aspect of our pillar prep. So for the stability, I like to do bear crawls on acceleration days because it's gonna mimic kind of that acceleration position where we're having those knees going straight up in the air. You're having the, right here, as I'm running, we're just taking that to the ground. So, tucking those toes under, similar position we were just in, bringing those knees up, opposite arm, opposite foot, going forward, controlling, nice and short and choppy steps the whole time. So we're gonna do 10 yards forward and 10 yards back. So for back, it's the same thing, we're in this position, we're just doing opposite arm, opposite leg, nice choppy steps, okay? So I don't want this to be super long, opened up steps where we're bouncing up and down and our hips are dumping from side to side. I want people to think about having a cup of water on your back, the small of your back, and not spilling that. Okay, so we're gonna have good control through this entire thing. Okay. Let you guys do that for a sec. Next, we're gonna have movement prep right here. So we're going into bridges, world's greatest, some marches, and some march balance. So for bridges, we're doing 2 sets of 10 here. Double leg bridges. Flip this back around. Tucking these feet under right here, so they should be, if you reach your arms down, your heel should be right there. You think about driving your hips straight up, driving through your heels, arms down your side, squeezing the glutes, feeling this in the back of the hamstring and the low back, coming back down. We're gonna do 10 of these, 2 sets. The goal there is to really kind of warm up the hips a little bit there. So you should feel the glutes kind of firing nice and strong. So squeezing the glutes there. If you have tight hips like I do, you might feel even a stretch in the front of your hips there. And that's kind of what we're working on. Next, we're going into world's greatest stretch, okay? So for the world's greatest stretch, taking a big step. Actually, let's go the other leg first so you guys can see. Taking this big step right here. Hands are inside of your feet. You're gonna grab your arm on the outside, dropping this elbow down, and then reach it up towards the sky. Palm up, really trying to reach as high as you can go. So on that reach, it's more of a reach, not a full rotation. Then we're coming back, hand on the outside. We're gonna do what I call a pump the brakes. Do a little hamstring stretch there. Back up, other side. So I want you guys to do 1 set of 5 each side. So I'll give you guys a few seconds here. Next we're gonna do is marching. So we'll do 2 sets of 10 yards for the marching. And we're gonna do some march balances after that as well. So for the marches, I think Ryan is done and is ready. Ready to rock?
Yep.
So he missed out on the pillar prep, but for the purposes of education and taking people through a workout.
Linear?
Yep, we're going linear marches.
All right.
So just pretend like you warmed up.
I didn't warm up.
Oh yeah, you just did a workout down there. So with the marches, he's coming straight down. The feet are right underneath the hips right there. He's moving at his shoulders, not just karate chopping, getting those knees up and keeping those toes up the whole time. So on the way back, I want you to show them like poor mechanics as far as like the feet, because a lot of times we see people with their toes kind of sagging down on the way down.
On the foot too, like where we hit. So I want to hit almost right before this orange Adidas line. So I want to hit ball of the foot to kind of where my arch is as I'm hitting down on the ground. I don't want to be too far up on my toe or too far back on my heel. So yeah, I'll show toes down here.
So this is what not to do. A lot of times you see people, maybe not that drastic, but you'll see people with their toes kind of sagging down there. We want to think about getting those shoelaces straight up and keeping those toes up. And he's pushing, getting full extension right underneath his hip. So this is kind of why we're warming up with marches, getting people used to these proper mechanics here, okay? From there, we're doing the march balance, so he's just gonna switch. One's ready.
Yep.
So he's gonna do one right now. So 1 foot up, he's just gonna switch. And he's just pausing for a second to have that good balance. So he's in the same position as he was during the march. He just has to do a little bit more balance now this time. So he's still moving those shoulders, still keeping that knee up, still keeping that toe up, getting that full extension and pushing that leg down right below those hips there. Good. All right, on the way back, we're gonna do 2 now. So same thing, you can take a break if you need to, man. Same thing, we're just doing 2 on the way back. So 1 foot up and switch. Yep, make sure we're going both sides. Make sure we're having good posture here. So you don't want to see that upper body collapse as you're bringing those knees up. And that's kind of why we do some of that upper back mobility and that hip flexor mobility early on in that pillar prep there, okay? Let's do 1 at 5 yards just for 3. So if you're doing this at home and following along, the reps for you guys for the marching is 2 sets of 10 yards. For the single balance, which is the first one you did, for the march balance is 1 by 10 yards. And then you're gonna do 2 by 10 yards and 3 by 10 yards. So for the 3s, I'm just gonna have them do 5 just to kind of show you guys. 1 knee up, 3 touches. Getting those knees up, quick feet, and then working on good balance. Nice. Cool. Heart rate is up.
It definitely is.
Elevated. Okay. We are taking this into some movement skills. So we're gonna do wall holds. If you guys were here when we did acceleration 1, you guys have seen this. Wall holds and then the wall load and lifts, taking that as some switches. So people watching at home for the wall holds, I want you guys doing 2 sets, holding for 5 seconds each. Load and lifts, we're doing 2 sets of 5. Load and lifts on each side. Make sure we're resting in between so we can have some good power, some good speed right there. And then the single switches, the double and the triple switches, we're doing 1 set of 5, 1 set of 3, and 1 set of 2. So taking Ryan through the wall holds, having those hands straight out in front of those shoulders. He's having a 38 to 45 degree. That's what Ryan told me one day, so I like to make fun of it.
Protractor.
Yeah. Protractors. Basically just having the backside of your foot just barely off the ground right there so you can get a credit card up underneath that. So he's gonna have the pressure, all the pressure right in the forefoot right there. He's gonna bring 1 foot up. That knee is just below 90 and keeping that toe up just like when we did that marching right there. So I'm gonna have him hold for 5 seconds. Good. Back down. Okay, so you guys at home, I want you guys doing 2 sets of 5 seconds each side, and then we'll take this into the load and lifts next. So for the load and lifts, in that same position, he's gonna, with the right leg, he's gonna reach back, and then with that left leg, he's gonna bend that knee. He's gonna bring that right leg up. Good. Into that same position. And he's really thinking about almost dragging that toe across the ground almost, and bringing it all the way back up, okay? So still pushing into the wall all the way down and the whole way up as well, keeping that core nice and tight. Keeping that toe up. Let's get 5 and then switch. If you guys want to do this the first time, nice and slow and controlled, and then kind of pick up that speed the second time, that's fine. So working on those speed mechanics here, working on good posture. So I can't talk. These are going to be some of the positions you're in when you are accelerating off of the line during a sprint here. Looking good. Good. All right. So for you guys at home, again, doing 2 sets of 5 each side. We're going to take this into doing switches just to show you guys what the switches are. We'll do single and double switches for Ryan here. So single switches, he's going to have his right leg up in that start position we had before. All I'm going to say is switch, and he's going back to the opposite side. Switch, 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 switch. Good. Okay, I'm having you guys do 5 on each side. Really thinking about that back leg is getting that full extension, and you're almost pushing, think about pushing that turf or pushing that ground away behind you, okay? So it's that triple extension of the hip, the knee, and the ankle. You guys are gonna do a set of 5 with the singles, which is what he just did, a set of 3 for the doubles, and then 1 set of 2 for the triples. So I'm gonna show one of the doubles here for Ryan. You can just do a couple of them to kind of, so they can get the point. Starting off, and he's gonna switch, switch. Good. So same thing, we're just adding another step. So you're driving one knee up, you're switching legs and coming back to where you started. And then the triple is right here, one knee up, switch. Good. Nice. Make sure we're having good posture the whole time. So that's the reason we're doing these, is just to have good posture.
Just one thing on the switches is imagine that you have chalk on your shoe, on the bottom of your shoe. You want to have that chalk strike in the exact same position each time you go through.
Cool. All right. Finally, we're going to do some resisted A-skips and floating skips and resisted bounds. So for these, I'm going to set you guys down so you can watch me pull Ryan and make things harder for him. So if you guys have a band or even a towel or something you can use, if you have somebody that's quarantined with you, we are they can basically lean into you and give you some resistance on your shoulders. So having that forward lean and just drive. So really the whole reason that you're using the resistance, whether it be a band around your waist or whether it be somebody pushing on your shoulders or you pushing or pulling a sled, the whole reason for that is to make sure we have that forward lean during those sprints. So we're really just trying to work on that posture just like we did during the wall and just try to give you some assistance to kind of get in that posture a little better. So I'm going to have him go through the ace skips. I'm going to just wrap a band around his waist, giving him enough pressure where he can feel like he can lean forward at the start a little bit without falling, but I'm not giving him so much pressure where he can't move.
Go through another set here.
Yeah, so for you guys, you're gonna do 1 set of 10 for the A skips, and then we're gonna take it into floating skips. So the A skips are more of like a rhythm. The floating skips, you're gonna be landing with both feet, and you're kind of putting some more force in the ground. So these are gonna be the floating skips now. A little more pop here. So you guys probably saw the difference between the A-skips and the floating skips. So the A-skips, you're doing a double tap on each foot almost. The floating skips, you're landing with both feet and then popping one foot up, okay? So getting kind of a little speedier, a little crisper. Crispier. Okay, now we're gonna take it into some bounding. So bounding should really be what you're thinking about when you're accelerating. So those first couple steps, those big long strides, big knee drive, big arm swings, covering some ground here. So you guys at home, I want you going through 1 set of 10 to 15 yards of all of those resisted, and just to try to get used to some of that forward lean in that position. And then we're gonna take it into the free, and by free, I mean you're not using any kind of resistance. Let's switch this up. So let's see how your bounding is now, Ryan. He loves bounding.
Probably pretty tricky.
Get better? So again, for the bounding, you're thinking about that big knee drive, big arm swing. It's gonna be what the acceleration, first couple steps of acceleration are. For you guys at home with the bounding, I want you doing 2 sets of 15 yards. Really think about getting that knee up. That's the big key for kind of this whole workout today, is getting those knees up, getting those knees up. For the sprints, I'm gonna have Ryan do a couple just to show you guys. But for the sprints, I want you guys doing 1 set of 10 yards, just thinking about really being powerful out of the gate there. Good knee drive for the first couple steps, and then kind of start spreading that out a little bit. 1 set of 15 and then 2 sets of 20, so we can get a little higher end speed there. Really, your top end speed shouldn't be until you're at that 15 or 20 yard mark. So you should still have a pretty good forward lean during that entire sprint, even at those 20 yards, okay? I know it's hard for some people to have that posture past 10 yards, but that's something you can kind of strive for, and that's why we're doing a lot of this posture work too, is to try to help with that forward lean. And then once you get past that 15 or 20 yard mark, that's when you're starting to have a lot more of that higher end speed turnover with the legs. So let's get Ryan over here. He's gonna do a sprint. Let's have you do one at 10 yards. We're doing 2-point today, that's fine. 2-point stance, all that pressure's in that front foot, left arm back, there we go. Right foot forward, left arm forward. He's gonna have a big arm swing and knee drive. So as you can see, the first couple steps almost look just like his bound, okay? So he's having that long step, full extension of that leg. Something people do, you can walk back. Something people do wrong a lot of times with sprinting is they immediately want to stand up and try to get into those, immediately stand up and they want to start getting into those top end speed mechanics. You want to show, you don't have to do a full sprint, but just what I'm talking about. Like sometimes people will be leaning forward here and they'll go sprint and they'll just stand up right away and they'll start doing short and choppy steps. So you really want these steps to be powerful and strong. If you guys ever watch the combine or any kind of sprinters, you'll see their first couple steps, their legs are getting full extension. They have very, very loose hip flexors. It's crazy. Okay, let's get one at 20 yards here. So I'm getting a little bit longer now. I just want to make them run. So again, for people that aren't sprinters or haven't experienced a lot, it's going to be hard to have that forward lean posture past that 10 or 15 yard mark, but the goal should be to have that forward lean a little bit all the way up until almost 20 yards. That's kind of when we're starting to get that top end speed, and then we're standing up all the way. So a lot of times on this track, when people are starting, I'll tell people to look down at that 20 yard and not even start standing up until they cross that 15. Okay. I'm not going to have you do any, unless you want to do another one.
I feel good, yeah.
You're all right. Let's do a forward view here. He wants to do another one. That was a blur, man. Couldn't even see you. Do you want to grab a box of some kind? Okay. So, again, for those free sprints there, you're doing 2 sets of 15 of the bounds. You're doing 1 set of 10 yard for the sprint and 1 set of 15 yard for the sprint and 2 sets of 20 yards for the sprint. From there, we're taking this into some Plyos today. Like I said, we're doing acceleration and Plyos, so we're gonna do some broad jumps, some 1 leg to 2 leg broad jumps, depth drops, and then depth jumps. That's fine, we're just doing depth jumps. You can leave it down there, I'll come down. That's fine. Oh my God. All right, starting off with broad jumps.
Broad jumps?
Yeah, not with the box, yeah. So, for the broad jumps, just jumping out as far as we can with a good landing though. So, again, just like with any other kind of jump, we're thinking about having full extension of those legs, swinging out, jumping as far as you can, sticking that landing. Good. He's gonna relax. Can walk back in between. That's fine. He wants to give himself longer rest here. Jumping out. So I always tell people jumping as far as they can when they can stick the landing. Some people like to jump even further and they can't land properly. Deceleration is as important, if not more important, than producing force. So if you can't slow yourself down, that's when injuries happen. Good. I'm gonna have you do one more. We're doing 4 of these. Nice, and relax. How's the knee feeling?
Good.
Nice.
Better than yesterday.
All right. All right, I'm gonna give Ryan a break here for a second. We're gonna do single leg broad jumps. For single leg broad jumps, we're gonna start with one leg. We're gonna land on 2 legs, okay? So we actually use this one for a test as well. You can see, if you wanna test yourself, see how far you jump from one leg compared to the other and see if there's like a drastic difference. You know, you might have some issues. So yeah, we can just start on the line, that's fine. So with this one, you can do it with an arm swing or with your hands on your hips. Let's just do it with an arm swing today. So arm swing, reaching back, jumping out, landing on 2 legs. So same landing as the double leg broad jump. It's good. Do, I think I had 4 on each, but just do 2 on each to show it, yeah. So knee drive. Woo.
Almost. I really wanted to just land on one leg there. Then do another one on the left.
Do one more on each.
Yeah.
So you guys at home, I want you doing 2 sets of 4 on each leg. Loading that leg, being quick to load, bend the knee, coming out.
Way less on that side.
Yeah, you shifted pretty far right too. So if you saw that last one, Ryan shifted pretty far right. Make sure when you guys are landing, you're trying to land as even as possible here. So both legs are hitting there.
I know which side's weaker for me.
Relax. Okay, next we're doing depth drops. So for a depth drop, I'm just getting people used to landing off of something that's higher than they can jump. So let's say you can jump 25 inches in the air, then doing a drop off a 24-inch box is not really gonna be more beneficial than just doing a regular jump off the ground. So try to find a box that's a little bit higher than you can just jump, just in the air. So if you don't know, you can just stand next to the box, jump as high as you can, take a video or have somebody tell you if you're higher than that box or not. We'll say Ryan's vert right now is not what it is. It's 30 and a half, he just tested it. So this box would actually not be a good for him, but we're gonna use this just for demo purposes. So he's gonna step out with 1 foot, hands on your hips, that's fine today. Hands on the hips, he's gonna land and just stick this landing. Good, so we're just working on decelerating. Like I said, landing or decelerating is probably more important than actually producing the force. So I like to warm up some of the later exercises with deceleration stuff. So anytime I'm doing anything off a box, I'll do some kind of depth drop. As you can see today on the workout, I only had 1 set, and that's because I wanted to try to get you guys doing some depth broad jumps, which is what he's doing next, but I don't want to do that without doing any kind of landing mechanics first. So at least getting 1 set of these in. If you have a partner and you guys want to make it a little more challenging, you can throw a ball at each other, like a med ball or something weighted, where as they're falling or right when they fall, you throw the ball at them. They have to catch it and be in that stable position the whole time. So finally, we're going to do, so we're doing depth jump. I was thinking lateral for some reason. Depth jump to a broad jump. So he's going to step straight out. He's going to land. He's going to think about being quick off the ground and then doing the broad jump just like we did earlier. So use the arms this time, load, stick the landing, okay? Let's get 4 of those. And just like with the sprint work, take your time in between these. So these are all highly powerful or high speed work, high skill work. We want to make sure that we're nice and rested. We can have as much power as you can each rep and not just grind through it like a conditioning. Nice. Una más. Nice. Still shifting a little bit, man.
Yeah.
You don't want to put pressure on that left knee?
Probably because I didn't do my pillar prep.
Probably because he didn't do his pillar prep. Doesn't want to go into his left leg there a little bit. All right, so that is the end of the acceleration and plyo workout. Again, today we did the foam rolling, mobility, stability. Movement prep was bridge, world's greatest. Marches, march balances, singles, doubles, and triples. For the move bit skills, we did wall holds, load and lifts, and then we did some switches, 1, 2, and 3 switches. And then we came over to the track and did resisted A-skips, the resisted float skips and bounds. Took that into doing some free bounds and some sprints, 10, 15, and 20 yards. Make sure we're taking a nice long break between those sprints, at least a couple minutes. Coming over between the plyos, and we're doing broad jumps, 1 to 2 broad jump. 1 to 2 leg broad jumps. So taking off on 1, landing on 2. The depth drops are when he's coming off the box and landing, and then the depth broad jumps. So hopefully you guys took something out of that and enjoyed that workout. You got anything, Ryan?
Only thing I was thinking is like it's beneficial to either have someone record you or coach you through. Like even though I've been coaching, Brett still was picking up things throughout my movement that I could have done better or start to work on later down the line. So it always helps to film or have someone there to watch along with you.
Yep. And that being said, if you guys do film it, feel free to share it with us. We could try to give you guys some pointers on any mechanical issues we're seeing. So check in next week. I think we're doing one Monday, right? I forgot the time.
12? We'll put it out there.
We'll post it out there, 12 or 12:30. It's going to be a strength workout that Ryan is running me through. Yay.
Yes. Burpees.